Thank you for staying tuned, South Africa. Now, meals on a budget need not be boring. Our fried buck balls with a spicy Clover Classic Mayo dip are proof that you can be creative in the kitchen with just a few simple ingredients that you already have at home. Now, let me show you how to make this simple yet classic dish. So what we're making today, South Africa, like I mentioned, we are making fried buck balls. And to make the buck, obviously, we need to start by making sure we cook our buck correctly. So what I've got over here is some rapidly boiling water in our pot. Basically, I put some boiling water in there and I want it to boil and bubble up before we go in with our pap. It is important to make sure that your water is hot, as in boiling hot, whenever you're making pap. You don't want to use room temperature water. You don't want to use just hot water. It must be boiling. And I don't know like what other people say, but I like to put salt in my pap. I always make sure there's salt. If you don't want to put salt, it's completely up to you. So while that water bubbles up, I'm going to basically get started with the dip that goes into this dish. It starts off with our amazing Clover Classic Mayo, and I'm using the number 2, which is basically the medium tanginess. We've got the one that's very strong, which is with number 3. We've got the mild, which is number 1. So you basically choose the one that works best for you. If you like it a bit more tangy, then you can use the number 3, which is the strongest of the 3. If you like it a bit mellow like myself, then stick to the medium. You can never go wrong. And it also is a source of 10 vitamins, so at least you know it's a guilty pleasure. You don't have to worry too much about that. And into this, we've got some red chili flakes that go in there, some sweet chili sauce. I've also got some tomato sauce. So if you want to add something more to this, you are more than welcome to add herbs, perhaps. You're more than welcome to add additional ingredients in there, perhaps, because this is a more tangy flavor. If you want it to be a bit more mellow and perhaps a bit more on the earthier side, you could perhaps use cumin into this dip, make it a bit more Mediterranean, completely up to you. Let me actually just dish this up and get it ready for us. And that is our dip ready to go. And I think it is the perfect time for me to start adding the mealie meal into our pot. And there we go. I'm just going to chuck it all in there. And then elbow grease, South Africa. Let's go in there, let that mellow out. And all you're going to do is, it was on high heat. I'm now going to turn it down to a medium heat. And all I want now is for the pap to cook. This should take about 10 to 15 minutes. Obviously, the more you have in there, the longer it will take. So let me just leave that unattended. I'm going to cover it up because you want it to steam up and cook. Luckily, I've got some that we made a little earlier. And this is basically the consistency you want. You don't want it to be too soft because you want to be able to manage it in your hands. And you also don't want it too hard because you also just want to be able to manage it in your hands. And so into this mixture, I'm going to go in with some cheese. Like we mentioned, you can add whatever flavors you like. South Africa is completely up to you. I'm going in with a bit of bacon. If you want to keep it vegetarian, then you can actually omit the bacon. It's completely up to you. And then a bit of mixed herbs go in there, some salt. I'm also going in with a bit of pepper. If you want it to be a bit more on the chili side, yes, you're also more than welcome to add all of that spiciness over here. Let me do this. So I'm going to get started with the breading of our mixture, just so you guys see exactly what we're doing. I'm going to break in an egg over here, and then another one. So basically we're going to bread it now. We're going to crumb it and make sure it's all nice and crispy. And basically all I do now, I'm going to take a bit of the pap, a bit of the cheese, and we're basically just rolling this into beautiful little balls that then we're going to crumb with our egg and our breadcrumb mixture. So let me just mix that up for you. And this is simple, South Africa. So if you're looking for a snack, if you're looking for something to snack on while you're busy at work, or if you're looking for something to keep the kids busy, if you're looking for a recipe that doesn't demand too much of your time, this is the perfect recipe for that. Then we go in with a bit of breadcrumb. And my technique whenever I'm breading anything, the one hand is for the wet, the other hand is for the dry. And then go into the oil to fry up. I'm going to make sure my oil is on medium. I don't want it to be too hot, and I also don't want it to be too cold, because if it's too cold, it basically means that instead of frying up, the pap balls are going to absorb the oil. You don't want that. What you want is you want to fry up on the outside because the pap is already cooked in essence. So there we go, my second ball going in. And like I mentioned, it's a simple and easy recipe because the biggest part of this is basically just getting the pap cooked. Once the pap is cooked, then all you need to do is just bread it nicely, add all the ingredients you like to it, add the extras if you want to add a little bit of extras, it's completely up to you. And basically let it fry up to a nice golden brown texture on the outside. You want want it nice and crispy, and then you bite into that. The cheese is nice and melted on the inside. You get those bits of bacon on the inside and those herbiness or whatever herbs you've put inside there, South Africa. And it's as simple as that. And if by any chance you feel like this is the dinner you want to try tonight, then go to afternoonexpress.co.za for the full ingredients list and all the steps. But I know some of you might not have been watching, so here's a quick recap.
Made with love by Clover.
So, we've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic!
A classic range from Clover. Timeless taste.
Made with love by Clover.